Mark, we're going to concentrate on India now. And do we have that moment of lift-off of the economy, given the bullish noise surrounding the whole sort of economic climate there for the country?
We're definitely in lift-off. We've been in lift-off for quite some time. If you look at the economic growth numbers, this year we're talking about 7% growth. Compare that to the U.S., to Japan, to China. It's an amazing phenomenon. This is 1.4 billion people. It's quite incredible.
It's an expensive market, though.
It depends on...
Again, we're going to go back to the PE question, aren't we? Right,
yes.
Okay.
Now, no question. I mean, the stocks we hold in India have gone through the roof, and probably it may be some time for some trimming, you know, if it gets a little bit too high. But from a longer-term perspective, you're better off having a hold on these companies that have a high ROE, ROI.
Highlight the advantages, the attraction of the country itself.
Number one, average age, 26 years old. Number two, 1.4 billion people. Number three, a government who's intent on digitizing the economy and make it very oriented towards technology. Number four, a software industry which is a world leader. I mean, if you go anywhere in the world, you'll see these Tata and a number of these other software companies exporting their software. And now you're getting the hardware coming in because, as you know, Apple is producing now in India. And I think you're going to get, when you get one manufacturer coming in, and by the way, many of the Chinese manufacturers are there, then all the subsidiary supplying companies have to come in. So you're going to see the growth of the hardware industry.
And is that where you are investing?
Right now we're in software primarily, but going forward we're going to be looking very closely at the hardware side.
Again, what are the industry groups that you look at outside of technology?
Infrastructure, companies that do building materials, because the infrastructure building in India is growing very rapidly. So that's number one. Number two, healthcare. People that are doing assessment of laboratory figures and that sort of thing. That's what we're looking at. And then anything to do with the internet. For example, mapping companies that mapping for automobile mapping and that sort of thing. So there's lots of opportunities. See, the great thing about India is that with 1.4 billion, you can go into any industry. There's a market domestically.
Yeah.
They don't have to depend.
It's not like a small economy-ish, but it's a big economy per capita. Sweden, for instance, which can actually specialize in certain things.
Exactly.
So it has, I suppose, a plethora of choices. India, and it has to if it's going to actually get to that level. So on that, how much is it benefiting from China being given the cold shoulder, as it were?
They're getting a lot of benefit from that because people who have been buying from China now realize they've got to diversify their supply chain. So they're moving to India, their manufacturing that they've been doing in China. Now, it doesn't mean that China is going to go down, but it means that there's going to be diversification to some degree out of China, partly because in some areas, China is getting a little bit too expensive. That's why you've seen some manufacturing moving to Vietnam and to other countries.